What is going on, Sports Outlet Show family? We are back here with the SEC breakdown on the College Summer Super Series 5.0. I'm Joe Wagner alongside Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. Gentlemen, start your engines, grab a beer. We're 2 days away from not hearing any more about any of this crap about legislation, any of this crap about NFL players coming to college football. We're going to put it in between the lines. Braden's so excited he went to watch the FCS games. I'm pumped. Brent, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's like you said, it's been a crazy week with the whole, getting drafted or undrafted free agent, trying to go back into college after you get cut. It's an interesting scenario that college football has to figure out. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff that college football needs to figure out. But nonetheless, we're pumped for it. Week 0, we got a lot of good games on Saturday. So I'm pumped for it, man.
Braden, I know you want to go watch Delaware State and the Fighting Deshaun Jacksons go play, but I need you here for the next hour and a half. Just to talk about some SEC football. I know you want to go watch the FCS. I get it, but right now I need you. I need you for the next 90 minutes. So thanks for hanging around.
Hey, football is football. But you're right. Just had to get the weekly at this point, weekly glitch out of the way early so we can have all the focus on the SEC here.
Hey, well, all the focus typically is on the SEC. We've got a lot of teams we're going to walk through. All 16 here today when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. Guys, a lot to talk about, a lot to chat about. We'll wrap up a little bit with some Week 0 conversations, as well as, you know it, you love it, the college football playoff that we have to talk about, a little bit of change in structure there. The Sports Outlet Show has theirs after tonight's standings, as we've taken you through the group of 5 all the way to the SEC. But first, we got to talk about the massive event from this past week. Saddened the hearts, not just around Nashville, not just around Tennessee or Dollywood, but the world lost a legend in Dolly Parton, the queen of country music, this past week. God rest her soul, and just a moment of silence for the queen of country. Hey, may we all work 9 to 5. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
For Dolly.
Anyways, it's hard to talk about football in a situation like that, but as always, the show must go on. And what better way to start the SEC preview than with a team that went 2-10 last year?
I was going to say, I mean, we're starting with the best here first. Arkansas, as Joe mentioned, 2-10 last year, maybe even worse, 0-8 in SEC play. So really not much contention there for the SEC. Arkansas, they enter 2026 with a new head coach and a whole lot to fix. Ryan Silverfield, he takes over after 6 seasons at Memphis, where he had 2 10-win seasons, but never won the American Athletic Conference. So nobody is expecting miracles immediately, but Arkansas desperately needs to start moving forward after not having a winning SEC record since 2015. The player I'm watching is senior defensive end Quincy Rhodes Jr. The defense was an absolute disaster last year, but Rhodes did give the Hogs something to build around after recording 8 sacks and 15.5 tackles for loss. If he can lead a much improved pass rush, Arkansas at least has a chance to stop getting completely overwhelmed defensively. The biggest addition is wide receiver Chris Marshall from Boise State. He's 6'3", averaged over 19 yards per catch last season, finishing with 30 catches for 574 yards and 2 touchdowns. The biggest loss is offensive tackle Amarian Harris, who transferred to Oklahoma after establishing himself as a potential anchor up front. The quarterback situation remains a question mark. Obviously, Talon Green leaving there. But they're bringing in KJ Jackson and AJ Hill. They're battling for that starting job. Whoever wins, it will have a talented offense around him. But the defense and overall depth are the bigger concerns for me. But with that being said, Arkansas did attack the transfer portal aggressively, particularly on the defense, to help try to shore that up. My game to watch is Week 6 versus Tennessee. Arkansas has brutal games against Utah, Georgia, and Texas A&M early. So by the time Tennessee comes to town, we'll have a pretty good idea of what this team actually is. A win over the Vols could completely change the feel around the program. With that being said, I don't have a whole lot of hope. I'm calling 3-9. Silverfield did what he needed to this offseason by attacking the portal, but we're in the SEC. It's going to be tough, and Arkansas is at the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately. So I'm going 3-9.
Such a crazy thing to say after like 5 or 6 years ago with Arkansas being a middle of the pack team. But two things on them. If they're winning in something, guys, we like to talk about positives as well. It's not all negative here on the Sports Outlet Show. The Razorbacks, Brent mentioned the craziness in college football, NIL, and everything changing that we won't steal the thunder of those talking about LSU later. But Arkansas was not possibly the first, but if not in the top 3 to get the first jersey patch on there with Tyson Foods, home of Walmart. So, the founding fathers of our grocery stores, got to give them a shout out there for sure down there in Fayetteville. But I like to think we talked about this a little bit last year and during the season. Sam Pittman being the head coach here last year was one of those many coaches on the SEC Netflix documentary they did, which was awesome. I wish we had it again this year, but I'll have to settle with quarterback on the Netflix show again. But so many of these guys got fired, dude, from that show. It was horrible. So many of them, and a couple that barely squeaked by we'll talk about tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Walmart thing. I think it's good that you brought that up because a lot of these players, they might be working at Walmart after the their career's done at Arkansas. Unfortunately, not a lot of NFL prospects here, but we'll see with Arkansas.
We'll see. Staying in the same letter of the alphabet, but a much more national championship winning franchise. Braden, tell me what's going on in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, this team, the Crimson Tide, they're used to being the best. Best in the SEC, best in the nation a lot of years. Last year they went 11-4, 7-1 in the conference. They lost the SEC championship game versus Georgia 28-7 before beating Oklahoma in the first round of the college football playoffs. Then their season ended with a 38-3 beatdown from Indiana. So that was the way that the season ended for Alabama there. Kalen DeBoer is going into his 3rd season. Past 2 years, he's gone 20-8 since leaving Washington. Crimson Tide fans are already growing impatient dealing with the fallout of Coach Saban. It's hard to replace a guy like that in Coach Saban. So I don't envy his job at all. And I mean, the fans have a right to be impatient. They haven't won a national championship since 2020. Like, it's torture. It's torture for them in Tuscaloosa. It's so long.
Yep.
My player to watch for them is going to be Ryan Coleman Williams, junior wide receiver. He has shown flashes of greatness over the past 2 years, but has not fully proven himself as a true superstar to this point. Inconsistency, drop issues, and sometimes just flat out disappearing for multiple games at a time. He just has not been that true number 1 wide receiver option. The talent is there, and Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton are gone. So now's the time to truly step up and be the alpha number 1 that this team needs. And Ty Simpson is gone. He's on the Rams now. So a new starting quarterback in Keelan Russell has been named. He's a redshirt freshman. And to protect him, they're bringing in Javen James, offensive lineman from Mississippi State, and he's replacing Caden Proctor. So he's got big shoes to fill there. Alabama's always been known for its firepower and offense, and they're hoping to live up to that expectation and have this offense firing on all cylinders. Their win total set at 8.5. I have their floor at 8-5 and their ceiling at 11-1. My game to watch is going to be Week 6 versus Georgia. It's really where the schedule gets interesting for Alabama. They should be 5-0 undefeated going into this game against their biggest competitors in the SEC and even nationwide for the last several years running. This game begins a gauntlet for Alabama. They play Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and LSU with a bye week sandwiched in there. But still, that's 4 games in a row against preseason top 25 opponents. So that's going to be a tough stretch for them. I've been going 9-3, and Kalen DeBoer continues to feel his seat get warmer and his leash tighten. So my question for you guys is, if Alabama does go 9-3, Does he get another shot, and how long can he fend off the Wolves?
I was going to say, I think that might be a death sentence. Unfortunately, missing the playoffs at Alabama, they were calling for your head last year.
Not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it, unfortunately. No. So yeah, I do think he would be gone at that point. Which honestly, going into it, I thought that was a great hire for Alabama. I loved Kalen DeBoer coming out of Washington. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure.
I've got 3 notes, and it's funny because you talk about 3 losses here, Braden, and I'm glad you talked about Kalen DeBoer. If they go 9-3, they will be searching for a head coach this summer. That is number 1. When you look at the Alabama Crimson Tide in their past, they haven't lost 3 or more games in back-to-back seasons since 2006 and 2007 until 2023 and 2024 and 2025. So we're already talking 2 decades of football that were being remiss with the Crimson Tide. And when you walk into the Rose Bowl and get smacked 38-3 to the Indiana Hoosiers, dude, come on. I mean, if there's not a bad taste in the mouth in Tuscaloosa, we talk about different standards. We talk about the SEC. Alabama should be 1-2 alongside of Georgia. Oklahoma and Texas came into the conversation, right? They're in the mix now with the LSUs of the world and a couple other SEC teams we'll talk about. But Alabama was number 1. They're not this middle of the pack. Oh, we might beat Oklahoma. Oh, we might beat Texas. Oh, we might beat Tennessee. We've lost back-to-back years to Tennessee.
Insane.
I don't get it, man. It's hard to talk poor on Kalen DeBoer on that too. At the same time, you're walking into a place you're destined to fail after coming in after Nick Saban, but at some point the standard is the standard. That's all I got. Talking about the standard is the standard, and our second of 3 teams with a fired head coach. We'll talk about the Florida Gators. DJ Lagway gone, off to Baylor in the Big 12. Think things get worse. Billy Napier is off to be a JMU Duke head coach. We're going Sun Belt, Fun Belt, Big 12, Waco, Texas. Things are in shambles in Gainesville. Another head coach that was on the Netflix documentary series that got fired this past season. Gentlemen, I have 2 questions. Are the dark days in Gainesville and Florida over? Because they haven't had a double-digit winning season since 2019, and they have not won the SEC since 2008. Billy Napier's gone, and this Gator team is bringing in 30 transfers behind first-year head coach John Summerall, who is the first head coach in history to coach for 2 teams at the same time. Talk about Tulane in their college football playoff appearance. Luckily, retained a couple starters and 8 guys. He's looking, guys, bare minimum in Gainesville. They want to get back to the top 25. They want to take strides in year 1. This is not a do-it-all fix-it. John Summerall has said that himself in press conferences. This is not a rebuild. He is going for glory as quickly as possible, but it's going to take time. And if it's going to take time, you need to keep your star running back, Jaden Baugh, who they did. He ran for almost 1,200 yards last season, scored 10 touchdowns. Yahoo Sports did their mock draft the other day. They had him projected as number 23 overall, him and Kawan Lacey, who we'll talk about later, being the 1-2 punch. He's going to be, if he runs like he did last season, he'll be a day 1 selection in the NFL draft this upcoming season. But, guys, they got a huge transfer from Auburn. He was a little bit here and there at Auburn last season, but former Georgia Tech guy in his 3 years, 2 at Georgia Tech, 1 at Auburn. He's had over 2,000 yards receiving and 12 touchdowns in 3 years. But the big question that comes at the quarterback battle that Aaron Philo just won this past week, the Georgia Tech transfer came in, 373 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. There's a huge question mark at quarterback in Gainesville. And it's crazy to say because they had DJ Lagway, who was supposed to be just a slam dunk number 1 QB, easy NFL draft selection that just I don't blame DJ Lagway, blame Billy Napier. You can point fingers everywhere in Gainesville. But now they're all at Aaron Philo. A couple of returning guys on the defensive side of the ball, and Miles Graham, Jaden Robinson, Kermani McLean, and Bryce Thornton. They need to get Gator ball back to being the defensive menace they were back in 2006 and 7. Their over-under sits at 7.5 wins. Their floor is at 7-5. Their ceiling for me at 9-3. Floor at 6-6. I don't think there's a more important game for them than a Week 4 versus Ole Miss, and I'll tell you why. Their schedule's forgiving with a non-conference schedule, right? They have FAU and Campbell in weeks 1 and 2, and then Week 12 versus Florida State. Who knows where these two programs are in Week 12 at that point? But their SEC schedule, it opens with Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, and South Carolina, and finishes with Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Rather forgiving, besides a 3-week stretch of Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. If they can do their job in 4 of those 8 games right there, they go 4-4 in the SEC. They sweep their non-conference slate, which, guys, I think they do. I have Florida at 7-5. I think that's a giant success for John Summerall. I think it's huge for people in Gainesville in a right direction heading into year 2 of the Summerall squad.
Yeah, it shouldn't be as bad as last year, I would think. And I know you mentioned it with all the transfers coming in. I feel like Florida needed that more than a lot of these other teams because it just got really, really bad. Obviously led by Billy Napier and DJ Lagway. They needed some sort of transition there. So I think that was really good for them.
We're not talking basketball, but we can talk about what's going on in Lexington.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting stuck with the really good teams. We'll say that. Yeah, really great. Kentucky, they went 5-7 last year, 2-6 in SEC play. They enter 2026 with a new head coach as well and a completely different offensive philosophy. Will Stein, he takes over after becoming one of the hottest young offensive minds in the country at Oregon. And the Wildcats, they desperately needed a change after the offense went backwards under Mark Stoops. The talent is better. The coaching should be more aggressive, but the SEC schedule is absolutely brutal. The player I'm watching is junior quarterback Kenny Minchey. There isn't a ton of proven production there at the position, but Minchey has the talent to make this offense work. He was once viewed as a legitimate contender for the Notre Dame starting job, and now he gets his chance to run Stein's offense. The biggest addition is offensive tackle Lance Hurd from Tennessee. He's an SEC veteran with NFL talent and gives Kentucky a legitimate anchor on the offensive line. The biggest loss is running back Dante Dowdle, who ran for 560 yards and 3 touchdowns last season, after previously rushing for more than 600 yards and 12 touchdowns at Nebraska. So a lot of statistical talent there. The offensive line should be one of the team's strengths, and Stein should, he brought in plenty of talent through the portal. The problem is whether all of those new pieces, kind of like we talked about with Florida here, if they can come together quickly enough. Kentucky has very little margin for error, especially with Alabama and Texas A&M coming almost immediately in that SEC schedule. But with that being said, my game to watch is Week 5 at South Carolina. They need to steal an SEC road game somewhere, and this might be its best opportunity before the schedule gets even nastier. My prediction, nonetheless, I'm calling 3-9. They have Alabama on the schedule, Texas A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Missouri. Oh, and by the way, that's all back-to-back. So an unforgiving stretch of football there. This feels more like the beginning of a rebuild under Stein than the year Kentucky suddenly breaks through. So once again, like Arkansas, I'm going 3-9.
Whew. All right, Brent, in your expert opinion of these 3-9 programs, which is better this year? Which is getting more – Oh, wow. Off the rip. No analysis, no hesitation, off the rip.
Kentucky has a better roster. The schedule is much tougher than Arkansas.
That's crazy. I mean, I feel like you were so much more positive in the Arkansas breakdown than the Kentucky one.
I like Kentucky. No Kentucky has some good pieces. Like I said, Lance Hurd, he's gonna get drafted pretty high in the NFL. He's gonna be a great prospect for them. I think the offense will gel a lot better under this new coaching staff.
Just off the rip, dude. I love it.
Yep.
Braden, we make the joke every year, but I don't think you got all of them this time. But talk to me about one of the Tigers.
I did not. And yeah, I was going to say the same thing. The first of the Tigers, surely they're the best of the three. Not quite. No, they're not. Last year they went 5-7, 1-7 in the SEC. In the Hugh Freeze era, Auburn went 15-19 overall and 6-16 in the SEC. This is not the standard that Auburn set for themselves. And they told Hugh Freeze that last year when they claimed 7 more national titles. They said, we need to win a national title because we just claimed 7 of them. Obviously, they didn't. So Hugh Freeze was brought out, and Alex Golesh is brought in to be the new head coach. Because that's already the 3rd American head coach we've talked about to make their way to the SEC here. So the American feeder league for the SEC and the Power 4 teams in general. It's Golesh's first season. He spent the last 3 years at South Florida coaching the Bulls to 23-15 with 2 bowl wins in his tenure. And he's bringing 13 of his former Bulls to Auburn, including his senior quarterback, Byron Brown. Last year, he threw for nearly 3,200 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. He also ran for 1,008 yards and 14 touchdowns on the ground. So a bit of a dual threat there. And the only remaining starter from the 2025 Auburn offense is Jeremiah Wright. He's a senior running back, and he might have been their best player last year. Last year, he ran for 969 yards and 5 touchdowns and could pair well with a dynamic quarterback in Byron Brown, drawing a lot of attention from opposing defenses. Their over-under win total is set at 6.5. I have a very narrow range for them. I have a floor of 4-8 and a ceiling of 7.5. With Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, and Alabama on the schedule, it's going to be hard for them to do better than that. My game to watch is Week 13 at Alabama. The Iron Bowl is always a game that both teams want to be at their best for. Alabama currently leads the series 52-37-1, and they've won the last 6 in a row. So stealing one back in hostile territory would register this season a success for Auburn. I've been going 5-7. The first year in the SEC is always going to be a rough for a new head coach with a new roster, but still Auburn fans will be hopeful Golesh can bring them back to relevancy with a couple more years in the rebuild.
I'm curious, and I feel like a big piece of your floor and ceiling here, Braden, is how well Byron Brown translates to playing SEC defenses.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not anywhere similar to Mestamaker playing Big 12 defenses because we know the Big 12 gets the laughing stock of a lot of points. But if you look at the Eagles NFL team, they have an SEC defense just on their roster by itself. Of a team we're about to talk about here in a minute. But I feel like that's the one question. It feels like the pocket collapses sooner, and quarterbacks that come from Group of 5 play and try and play in this conference, it's not as easy for you to scramble like you can at USF. So curious y'all's thoughts on how we think he'll perform.
Yeah, and that's not even a discredit to the offensive line. Like the SEC offensive lines are some of the best in the nation. It's just the defenses are that much better in the SEC.
You want to talk about good defense in the SEC, Brady? I've got a team for you. I won't do my whole Pat McAfee impression. I'll keep it light. I'll keep it light like the loss column for Kirby Smart, all right, in his tenure as a Georgia Bulldogs head coach. But expectations in Athens are a little different than they have been the past couple of years. I don't want to call it shocking, but I will call it disappointing. Their 34-39 loss to Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl last season, especially with everything that was surrounding Oxford and LSU. We'll get to the elephant in the room when we get to those programs, so I won't chat about it. But Smart's stock, literally stock 10, is rising. He's returning 15 of 22 starters, and they are looking to not have an early exit in the CFP as they've lost 2 of their 2 in the last 2 seasons. That's not the standard at Georgia, but Kirby Smart is building something in Athens like he has been for a long time. Guys, I'll just come out and say it. I think it's an obvious statement, but I think it's one that needs to be said. Kirby Smart's the best college football coach in the game. National championships, SEC championships, college football playoff. He's one of the only OGs. This is the one thing he gets on Nick Saban. He's one of the only OGs that was able to survive this change to NIL and find a way to thrive in it, find a way to build a staff around it, and continues to bring out All-Americans, SEC championships, and 12-win seasons back to back to back. He's 117-21 in his tenure with the Bulldogs. Guys, he just finished his first decade of work. He's off to year 11 in decade number 2, and he's coming in with the 7th highest recruiting class in 2026. Now, a couple things about this Kirby Smart-led offense. Gunnar Stockton's coming back, and he's had a full year under his belt ever since Carson Beck left for Miami and now the NFL. Gunnar Stockton's ready to rock and roll. Guys, he only threw 5 interceptions and scored 34 touchdowns all-inclusive last season. He had 3,200 yards with the passing and rushing game combined. He's used to SEC defenses. He's been to the biggest games he'll play in. The question is, what can he do to rise to the next level? One of the biggest transfers they got from Clemson, safety Khalil Barnes, had 40 tackles, 2 pass deflections, but that wasn't even the top of his career, as he's had 7 picks and 3 forced fumbles in his 3 years in Clemson. He's now a Georgia Bulldog. And finally, the defensive lineman who was a true freshman All-American last season, who had 22 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble, he's being compared to Jalen Carter as a sophomore. If there's not a better recommendation for that, that's nothing to spit at, Braden. That's nothing to spit at all.
Sneeze.
That also makes sense.
You get it. Thank you. I was given the NFL reference.
Oh, that went over my head. I forgot. I
forgot about that too.
I tried to put that memory out of my head. I don't want to.
I put a pretty bow on this, and the Eagles fan didn't get it.
That's traumatic to me. It's traumatic.
Anyways, their over-under set at an SEC high. They're the only one here when I checked the sportsbook last night at 10.5. That's because their SEC strengths consists of Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ole Miss being their 3 hardest football games. They avoid Texas, they avoid LSU, they avoid Texas A&M, and they avoid Tennessee. It's a favorable schedule for Athens. Not that they need one, because they're the best team in the SEC. That's my first prediction for you this upcoming season. But having a strength of schedule like that is nice. I think out of that OU, Alabama, Ole Miss, they drop one of those 3 football games. I think the Georgia Bulldogs go 11-1. I think they're going to have a heck of a football season, and go Dogs.
And Joe, I like how much emphasis you put on Kirby Smart. I also want to you think about the value a quarterback has to a team, and you think about the quarterbacks he's had in his tenure, like Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, Carson Beck, Stetson Bennett, guys that didn't necessarily translate to the NFL, and still he's been amazingly successful with those guys in his tenure there. Not to discredit any of those quarterbacks, they just were not able to take the step up to the next level so far. But it's impressive.
I agree. You think about the quarterback talent that a lot of other of these great coaches have had. Name a great Georgia football quarterback since Matthew Stafford. Exactly. And translates to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Translates to the NFL is my conclusion there. In the Alabama world, you have Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa on the same freaking football team. Right? You've had the Bryce Youngs of the world. You've had a lot of talent, and Ty Simpson. We'll see how he pans out. AJ McCarron's of the world. It's intriguing to see. But Gunnar Stockton had not just a great year. He had a year that you look back at 5 interceptions. We'll go back to SEC defenses. 5 picks against people that were going top 10 overall in Mansour Delane, right? And a couple other corners that went in the first round, and these linebackers and D-line, he's probably not even close to the best quarterback in the SEC. I'll say that up front, but that doesn't matter because Kirby Smart knows how to run a defense, and he knows how to have explosiveness at running back and wide receiver. So I don't know.
Joe, I do just have to say, that was a great analysis, and I got to give you some applause for that one. I got to.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that too.
I was just clapping. Come on, what? Just clapping.
Oh, you guys are funny. Let's go to Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri. I feel like they took a little bit of a step down last year. They went 8-5, 4-4 in the SEC. they enter 2026 in a familiar spot, good enough to beat the teams it should, but still searching for that signature win. Eli Drinkowitz, I think he's a great coach. He is entering his 7th season with a 46-29 record. The program has absolutely improved under him. But the next step is obvious. Missouri has to start beating the teams at the top of the SEC instead of simply beating everyone below them. The player I'm watching is junior running back Ahmad Hardy. He was phenomenal after transferring from ULM, rushing for an SEC best 1,649 yards and 16 touchdowns last season. He's reportedly recovering well after being shot at a concert in May, but his availability early in the season is a major storyline. And I'm sorry, Chris, I'm not sure if Brian Robinson is the best running back that got shot anymore. I don't think we could say that. Ahmad Hardy, he was awesome last year.
Gotta find that clip somewhere.
That was an all-time moment. But
I think that's when we kicked him off the podcast.
Yeah, it might be. But no, seriously, Hardy, great running back, one of the SEC's best. He's probably, if I had to guess, they haven't come out with a clear timetable. I'm thinking he'll probably miss about 4 to 6 weeks to start the season. And Jamal Roberts, he's the backup. He gives Missouri a capable replacement after rushing for 753 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. So a lot of rushing yards last year for Missouri. The biggest addition is safety Elijah Dotson from Michigan. He only had 11 tackles and an interception as a freshman, but his speed and range give Missouri another talented piece in the secondary. The biggest loss is edge rusher Damon Wilson II, who is terrific for the Tigers before transferring to Miami. Replacing that kind of pass rush will not be easy. The quarterback situation is also fascinating. Austin Simmons takes over after spending 2 seasons at Ole Miss, and his development could determine how high Missouri's ceiling is. Bo Pribula, obviously at UVA now, he was efficient last year, but the offense revolved heavily around the run game, as I mentioned prior. Simmons will need to prove Missouri can win games through the air when the Tigers face the SEC's best. My game to watch is Week 7 at Ole Miss. Missouri does get a bye after this game, and this is a major opportunity to show it belongs in that SEC race. With Texas A&M, Texas, and Georgia also waiting later, Missouri needs a statement win somewhere. There is plenty of talent on this roster, and Missouri should handle a lot of the easier games on the schedule like they've done every year. But the stretch of A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia is brutal. And I don't know if Drinkowitz's Tigers have enough to do it. I'm going an even step below last season. I'm calling 6-6. So not quite ready to take the next step up.
Yeah, I feel like Missouri is another middle of the pack team that we talk about within conferences. They've had some really great seasons in the past couple of years under Drinkwitz, but again, hopefully Ahmad Hardy is healthy, because when he is, it's better for football as it comes to this season. But definitely excited for what the Tigers have. Braden, you didn't get to talk about a Tiger. I'm sorry. I can fix it for you. I can fix it right now.
Please,
let me fix it.
I'm fuming.
Let me fix it.
Boom. The LSU Tigers. Much like Auburn was the best of the Tigers, the LSU Tigers are the worst of them. Clearly.
Yep.
7-6, like on a real note though, 7-6, 3-5 last year, absolute nightmare for LSU. I believe I've talked about LSU for the past 4 years in a row, because I remember always mentioning they haven't won in week 1 since the Joe Burrow era, and that was the last time they won a national championship. Well, they finally won. They beat Clemson, and then it just fell off a cliff after that. They lost 5 SEC games. Garrett Nussmeier was projected to be like a top 5 draft pick in 2026, and he's now expected to be the 3rd stringer for the Chiefs behind Justin Fields. So just that tells you how LSU season went last year.
Go to the draft, guys. Go to the draft.
Good news for the future, though. They have finally moved on from Brian Kelly and found a new head coach. It does happen to be another pretty polarizing figure in Lane Kiffin. It's his first season in 6 years at Ole Miss. He led the Rebels to a record of 55-19 with 3 bowl wins and a college football playoff appearance that he himself did not appear in. He made a lot of noise by leaving the team for Baton Rouge prior to the playoffs, so he did not coach that game or those games as the Ole Miss Rebels in the postseason. One of the biggest transfers, if not the biggest transfer in the offseason, was Sam Levitt coming to Baton Rouge. He's a quarterback. In 2025, he had 1,628 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 5 rushing touchdowns before undergoing season-ending foot surgery at the end of October. Reports are his foot's looking good. He's ready to play, ready to go, and he should be firing on all cylinders in week 1. So next week, crazy. Kiffin also brings in a whole slew of weapons through the transfer portal, and they retain Treydas Green, who could very well be the best tight end in the country going into this year. Defensively, they also don't seem to have a lot of weaknesses. The safeties look solid, and the front seven looks very scary considering they still have Whit Weeks, and they brought in a whole new defensive line, including Princewell Emanuelian, and who's following Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. And another guy to watch is freshman Deuce Geralds. He's a 4-star out of Georgia who's expected to play a key part on this defense on the defensive line. The over-under win total is set at 8.5. My floor for them is 6-6, and my ceiling is 10-2. They do have some tough games on the schedule, including Texas A&M, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, and featured on College Game Day in Oxford, it's week 3 against Ole Miss. There's going to be a lot of buzz going into this game. An SEC road game between 2 high-caliber opponents is always going to be a great watch. But for Lane Kiffin and the way he left Ole Miss, it's going to be an extremely hostile environment for the Tigers. It should be a great game with a lot of fireworks. I'm excited to watch it. I have LSU going 9-3. The team is built well enough to compete in year 1 of the Kiffin era and should compete for an SEC championship game appearance if all goes right. But like I said, 9-3 is going to be where I have them at in year 1.
There's a lot of things to break down with LSU, but I feel like we can definitely do it during the Ole Miss segment because you're talking about we're talking about the one that left for a better scenario, not the one that was left to pick up the pieces.
Guys, I didn't even mention Daquan Wright, the transfer from the Cleveland Browns.
Braden.
Unfortunately, it seems like he's not going to play, though. Stupid.
Braden, NFL's next week. Why are you talking about NFL players?
My bad.
We'll get to it next week. We'll get to the Browns. I think the Browns are next. We could spend a whole hour talking about the Cleveland Browns organization. Definitely LSU.
I think we lost.
We broke him. We broke him by talking about Daquan Wright. Breaking the rules. It's over.
I think I heard something. Oh, is he back?
I'm back.
There you go.
Sorry, I was saying negative things. Lane Kiffin hacked my feed. I wasn't sure what to do. But boys, that takes us halfway here through the SEC. We've got 8 more teams to walk through, but you know what happens here at halftime. Hydration breaks, first of all. That's what we learned this summer. We'll do that real quick. Michelob Ultra, if you want to sponsor the Sports Outlet Show, you're more than welcome to. But, you think about college football and, Pac-12 after dark and all these sorts of things that just go great with football. But, if you're going to be watching a game from noon all the way till past midnight, you're going to get hungry. Right? It's just what happens. We talk about food a lot on the podcast when we get about halfway. We haven't talked about this yet. But is there anything better than, you got a little buzz going, you need a little grub in the system, and you call up at 2 a.m. and you get your local Chinese takeout? There are a few things better than that.
True.
Man, I don't know if I can come up with 10 Chinese dishes, but maybe is it just food items? What is
it?
Says Chinese takeout. That's all you're getting from me.
All right. We'll find out.
It's cheap, it's filling, it's delicious. Perfect.
I'm intrigued.
Let's get this up here. I have no idea who's going first.
It's Brent.
Okay. Brent, you're first. Braden, this is now your job to know this. All right, thanks. We gave Braden a job today.
Yes.
All right, Brent, at number 1, your Chinese food takeout orders for you to watch 2 a.m. USC versus San Jose State. You got sweet and sour chicken.
Yeah, pretty good one. Pretty good one. Gotta love a little sweet and a little sour. Love it. I don't know if I like it more than like General Tso's. That might be my chicken go-to for Chinese, but solid nonetheless. And even like a honey chicken, that might go above it as well. But let's put it at 7.
I don't mind that.
Braden's upset with you for that.
No. Like you were saying, there's some better chicken dishes, and that's good. But I think a lot of things on here are going to be good. So I'm not.
Okay. Number 2, Braden. This is your interpretation. It's a general category, but however you like them, you can put them on here. You got dumplings.
Dumplings. Okay. I think there's better side options out there. I like me some crab rangoons a lot. So they're up there above the dumplings for me. The dumplings are not bad. I think I do like sweet and sour chicken more though, so I'm going to put them at 8.
Okay.
I'm getting hungry, and we haven't even gotten to the good ones yet.
I know,
I'm
right?
getting Chinese food takeout after this. Like, podcast ends, out the door, done.
Oh my gosh, dude.
At number 3, this guy's a key player. He brings the whole meal together. He may not be a dish by himself, but people get excited when they see this in the takeout box. Not because they ordered it, because it's free. It tells you what the rest of your future. Give me the fortune cookie.
No, seriously. I think I can still hear you, Joe, but you're frozen on my screen. Oh, there you are. You're back now.
Dude, I just had a great monologue too.
Real talk, fortune cookies are absolute trash. Like, they taste like crap. I'll be honest with you. I do not like a fortune cookie. I'm putting it at 10.
It's more about the novelty than the cookie itself. I don't mind the taste, but there are times when you're not feeling it. You're more for the fortune itself than the actual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It's an excuse for a cookie. You can't call that thing a cookie. It's not a cookie.
It's more like a wafer.
Yeah. Kelby's pissed, but
my beautiful wife disagrees, and I agree with my beautiful wife. At number 4, it's been mentioned already. Braden, it's not from Owens. It could be from anywhere else.
Ooh.
You got General Tso's chicken.
Still so good. Love me some General Tso's. You got to get the noodles with it, some brock. Let's see, where do we want this here? I don't know how much is going to be above it. Let's go with 3.
yeah, General Tso's phenomenal. I need to get some after this pod.
Mm-hmm. Sounds so good.
Hit that DoorDash. Maybe we need a DoorDash ad. Maybe they'll sponsor.
That'd be great.
DoorDash, Michelob Ultra, guys, keep thinking of things we want. We'll talk about it at our quarterly meeting. At number 5, we have beef lo mein.
Oh yeah, yep. That's some good stuff, man. Any lo mein, honestly, but beef lo mein, whew, that's fire. Man, there's gonna be a lot of good dishes though. Should I slide it below General Tso's or above? I'm gonna put it at 2.
Braden, back to you at number 6. We have, a lot of people don't think about this player when they're going to Chinese takeout. Wonton soup.
It's good. It is good. Yeah, not my favorite, but it's good. We'll drop it at number 9. I'd rather get some dumplings.
Yeah, we can't have a soup any higher than that.
Back to you, Brent. A key side player typically comes before the main event, but you got your egg rolls.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for egg rolls. Gotta love a good egg roll. Definitely better side item than dumplings. Definitely not above General Tso's or beef lo mein, though. I think a good spot for it is number 5 right there in the middle.
Love that.
To you with number 8, essentially your last pick of the day. You have Crab.
Rangoon.
Is he going to say it?
I'm back.
Crab what? Don't leave us
Crab
hanging.
Crab Rangoon wontons.
Let's go. Put him at number 4. Best side option there is.
Absolutely.
There's a storm in Blacksburg, fellas. You gotta give me some peace there. All right, got 1 and 6 open. Brent, whatever. A reminder to the fans out there that haven't been there. Whatever Brent puts this option at 1 or 6, they don't know the 10th option going at 1 or 6 will be the final option. You have orange chicken.
Yeah. Orange chicken's pretty freaking good. I'm trying to determine what that last item is. And nothing is really, really coming to mind. So I'm going to go ahead and put orange chicken at the top because I don't want to mess this up.
That's fine. I like that. I'm thinking of fried rice is going there at number 6.
Beef and that's broccoli. Fine. That's fine. I know people are really particular about beef and broccoli. Some people love it. Again, it's broccoli. That's part of the dish.
Hey,
so I got to put it in the middle.
You got to eat your broccoli.
Tell Carson. He'll be on the pod.
Carson, eat your broccoli. I'm telling him this weekend.
Listen, I know some people might hate it, but I think this is a good list.
I'm fine.
This is the first time in Blind Top 10 history that you have a sad face on the board, though. That's rough.
That's judge's bias right there.
Whoa!
I can name 30.
You typed in the smiley face.
Whoa!
I can name
Brayden,
30.
You don't know what I do.
I can name 30 cookies better than a fortune cookie.
Okay, let's hear them.
I don't think we have time for that. I'll text them to you.
All right. Brent, your homework assignment, I know you won't be at next week's, but the September 10th podcast, we will begin the podcast with you reading off a list of 30 cookies. And if me or Kelby disagree with one of them, you have to wear a funny costume to the next one.
I can confidently say that I can name 30. I don't know if you'll agree, but I can confidently say that there are 30 cookies at least better than a fortune cookie.
All right.
You got to think about all the Girl Scout cookies too, man. We got a lot of fair game here.
I'm intrigued to see it. Professor Style Brayden and I will mute the mics. We'll get out the paper pencil. We'll put some glasses on.
Check.
We'll do it like it's your final exam.
Okay. I'm in.
All right. I'm in. Somebody please remind me of that because I will forget. Thank you all for joining Top 10. As always, we appreciate you hanging out. We're going back to sports and college football. We'll see you next week. Happily saying bye to Top 10. I appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. We'll see you next week. Actually, announcement for you while you're here before you leave. We're back weekly after this one. There's no more bi-weekly. We're taking you all the way up through Christmas into the college football playoff. We'll be here every Thursday. We might kick to 6:30 instead of 7 so we can get you guys out on time for Thursday night football each week. But we'll put that in the socials. We're not gonna finalize anything tonight. But thanks for hanging out at Top 10. We just lost 75% of the viewership. Let's keep it going here with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And I don't blame 75% of the population for leaving because I'm sure that Bulldogs fans in Stark Vegas did the same this past fall. Guys, I've got a one-liner for you here when it talks about Mississippi State. Oh, the things in Stark Vegas crashed and burned harder than a Thomas Rhett concert in the summertime. Because the performance they put on in the SEC championship was just as disappointing as Hershey Park rating out the concert for Thomas Rhett. They started 4-0. Mississippi State lost 8 of 9 in the SEC, including a brutal 7-point loss to Tennessee, a brutal 2-point loss to Florida, and a 7-point loss to Texas that they were a 99.99% ESPN FPI prediction to win about 59 and a half minutes of that entire game. Terrible, awful, disgusting. Jeff Lebby, what's your response in year 3? There's not much room for error. When you're an SEC head football coach, you came from Oklahoma. You're the former OC there. Things are getting restless in Starkville because Jeff Lebby has won 1 of 16 SEC games in the past 2 seasons, and it was this year. a 3-point win against Arkansas, a team that Brent just told me is going to go 3-9 this season. Take that to the bank and write a check if you want with it, but it's not good. It's not great. It's ugly. It's disgusting, even for the past struggles that the Bulldog Nation have had, who have some of the best fans, by the way, that we need to talk about. We talk about how great Hokie Nation is. They're the best fans in the world. There's no doubt, no bias there at all. Mississippi State fans show up no matter what. You look at a football game, you look at a baseball game in Starkville, it's impressive. Shout out to Cowbell Nation, everything they put into football, the staff there, the people there, impressive, incredible from the Bulldogs. First, I want to say that. Now win some games for your fans, like win a couple football games in the SEC. A couple things to help them with that. Wide receiver Anthony Evans III stuck around. He had 831 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is fantastic. Edge Amari Williams, they get from Florida State down in Tallahassee. Guys, how many times have you heard in college about a two-way player? Because Amari Williams is that guy. He's a tight end / edge, more commonly as an edge. He's at 6'4", 240 as a sophomore. He had 10 tackles and a half and a sack last year, as well as 2 receptions, 51 yards, and a touchdown as a tight end. You have to highlight people that play two ways. It's not just Shohei Ohtani. It's not just him. Then at quarterback, Kamario Taylor saw some action at the end of last year with 629 yards. Guys, listen carefully to these stats I tell you. Passing first. 629 yards, 5 touchdowns, passing. 43 completions, 77 attempts. 77 attempts. 1 pick. Just one. 82 carries, 458 yards, 8 touchdowns rushing. You got to have a dual threat quarterback in the SEC, and I'm intrigued to see if Kamario Taylor can be a breakout guy for the Bulldogs this season. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about the schedule. Let's talk about the team. Their over-under set in a abysmal 4.5. Their floor for me is at 3-9. Their ceiling's at 6-6. The game for me to watch is week 3 at South Carolina because it's a battle of the hot seats. It's Shane Beamer and Jeff Lebby. Who wants to get fired more? We're going to learn a lot in this football game. It's not just about LSU, Ole Miss, and SEC country Braden that weekend. Talking a little bit more about this Bulldogs team, the stretch of Alabama, at LSU, Oklahoma, and at Texas is a crucial stretch. Guys, I don't see them coming within double digits of a single one of those football games. So my question to you, as I tell you that Mississippi State's going 4-8, Lebby fired at the end of the year or Lebby fired after that stretch?
I thought you were just asking if he was going to get fired after 4-8, and that's a pretty confident yes. But they probably just wait till the end of the year. I feel like most of these programs do, unless you're Penn State. Thank you. And Virginia Tech, yeah, true.
Both sides of that transaction.
Hey, we brought him back, so it doesn't count.
Exactly. Yeah.
You guys, silly gooses. I think this is the first year I didn't talk about Oklahoma, Brent. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, we'll see if I can do as good as you. I might not know as much about all the guys, but this is a good team. This was a really good team last year. Went 10-3, 6-2 in SEC play. Really, really, really solid defense. Reaching the college football playoff before falling to Alabama. They enter 2026 with a very different expectation in my mind. Go on a run. Brent Venables, he's entering his 5th season with a 32-20 record, and the defense has finally become what everyone expected from one of the country's best defensive minds, mind you. Now the offense needs to catch up with the defense. The player I'm watching is junior defensive lineman David Stone. He's one of the best interior defenders in the entire country. Projected first-round NFL pick, high first-round pick. Oklahoma finished 6th nationally in total defense last season, and Stone was the big stone in the middle, and why this front can be dominant again. The biggest addition is offensive tackle Amarian Harris from Arkansas. 6'5", 312 pounds, should help an offensive line that needs to take another step forward. The biggest loss is linebacker Sammy, might butcher the last name, Omasio. Yeah.
You had it right the first time.
Okay, Omasio. He leaves after recording 50 tackles and 2 sacks last season, but losing him and Kobe McKenzie hurts the linebacker depth, and the Sooners still have plenty of talent, as I mentioned at the top, on the defensive side of the ball. Quarterback John Mateer. He is the biggest key to everything when it comes to this Oklahoma team. He looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the country early last season before a hand injury really slowed him down. If he stays healthy, Oklahoma has the explosive quarterback play needed to pair with that defense and become a legitimate national contender. My game to watch, it's pretty early on in the season, week 2 at Michigan. Texas is always going to be huge. Obviously, they're coming up later on the schedule. Georgia is a monster road game, but beating Michigan in Ann Arbor would immediately tell everyone that Oklahoma is ready to play with some of the country's best. I know Michigan, they've had a couple down years, but I do think they're trending up. I think they're trending up. My prediction, I'm calling 9-3. And I think this is a spot where I could easily see myself getting it wrong because on paper, you look at this defense, which is outstanding. Mateer, I think, is legitimately a legit star on the offensive side of the ball. And the schedule, honestly, it's actually more manageable than last year's second half nightmare. The problem is you have 3 juggernauts on the schedule in Georgia, Texas, and Texas A&M, which I unfortunately think they lose all of those as of now. But they absolutely have potential to make the college football playoff. They just need to prove it in at least one of those 3 games. You need to beat one of those 3.
Yeah, you look at Oklahoma's schedule and it's difficult, and it's with the rest of the SEC, right? It's in the top 20 strength of schedule because they all have to play each other. For some reason, we do strength of schedule rankings preseason. Stupid, doesn't make sense. But yeah, that Ann Arbor game's a big one. I do think they do win that one. And I'll say this. I've been removed from working for the Sooners for over a year and a half. So could talk a little more about it, but I'm going to say this instantly. You can call it bold. You can call it not bold. I think it's top 10 in the rankings. I'm not 100% positive, but I think John Mateer wins the Heisman.
I can see
it. If he stays healthy, I think John Mateer, he is my Heisman pick this year. If Oklahoma goes 10-2, makes the college football playoff, John Mateer plays 12 games, John Mateer is going to win the Heisman. Done.
Yeah. I'd be interested on the odds on that because that might be worth a sprinkle or two. Because like we said, he got hurt early on last year, and I think without that injury, he showed enough promise the prior year to really, really be a stud quarterback. And we talk about the schedule. The schedule was hard last year too. It didn't matter. They made it. So again, I'm thinking 9-3 right now, just based on these other teams, but I could easily be wrong with that analysis.
Let me tell you every quarterback that John Mateer is under when it comes to Heisman rankings. Carr, quarterback. Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Darian Mensah, Julian Sayin.
We lost you after Julian Sayin.
I cut out. Okay. Jeremiah Smith, Trinidad Chambliss, Josh Hoover, Sam Levitt, Gunnar Stockton, John Mateer at plus 2,500.
That's good value. Good value.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think everything before Jeremiah Smith is valid. But he slides in there somewhere for sure.
Braden?
Yeah. Horns down.
He's still going to do it.
Yeah, horns down. We'll get there. The Longhorns, 10-3 last season, 6-2 in the SEC with losses, not just in the SEC, losses against Ohio State and Georgia. Those games, they're not bad losses. But it was really the loss against Florida that kept them from being more successful in 2025. Under Coach Sarkisian, it's his 7th season. He's gone 48-20 in the past 6, with 10-plus wins in each of the last 3 seasons. Their player to watch is still Arch Manning, quarterback. He's a junior. He started slow last year, but started to find his stride toward the end of the year. He had almost 3,200 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and 10 rushing touchdowns. If he can elevate his game just one more level, he could easily steal the number 1 overall pick from Dante Moore in 2027. And he will have very little reason not to, considering the weapons at his disposal. Very little excuses. They bring in Dalen Hollywood Smothers from NC State to be the featured back, and they retain Ryan Wingo at wideout. But this year, Ryan Wingo is going to be the number 2 option behind Cam freaking Coleman, the most talked about transfer portal acquisition for somebody who does not play the quarterback position. Honestly, he doesn't have the most eye-popping numbers in 2 years in Auburn, but he also didn't have Arch Manning throwing him the football. This team is gross, and I didn't even talk about the defense. Raheem Biles comes in from Pitt to become an immovable object to pair with the unstoppable force that is Colin Simmons. And there are probably about 10 other impact players I can mention, but that would increase the runtime of this podcast by another hour. Their over-under win total is 9.5. This Texas team is a top 5 favorite to win the national championship, no matter where you look at them, what book you look at, and it's for good reason. My floor for them is 7-5. My ceiling is 11-1. The schedule is too loaded for them to go undefeated, but they will give every team a run for their money. My game to watch is Week 2 versus Ohio State. Arch Manning was absolutely embarrassed in his true worldwide debut last year. The Buckeyes backed up Coach Lee Corso in his beautiful swan song, but this year the Longhorns are coming back for revenge, and this time it's at home in Austin. Guys, unfortunately, unenthusiastically, sadly, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. You've heard year after year, Texas is back, Texas is back, Texas is back. I think it's for real this year. I've been going 11-1. I see this team realizing its potential and making a deep run this year. And I'm not happy about it, but I am buying in.
That last name sounds familiar. For the quarterback, I never heard.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody said that before, but now that you mention it, it kind of does.
Yeah. No, I just watched the Vince Young documentary on Netflix last night. They just made a really good documentary for Vince Young, and it reminded me of how good Texas used to be. It's been a long time coming for this team. But I think you're right, Braden. I think if not the championship, like you said, they're top 5 odds. I think they're very close to it. They'll be right on the outskirts looking in.
Absolutely.
So it should be a good year for Texas for sure.
We talk about coaches and standards and things around programs, right? This has got to be Steve Sarkisian's monopoly team. Like top to bottom, offense, defense. Arch Manning's throwing the ball to Cam Coleman. Like, how do you picture that? That's an NFL saying that we may hear if they got on the same team, of course, but 2 guys you'll see in the NFL in the next couple years.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for them to be on the same team. It's going to have to be like a Texan situation with Will Anderson and CJ Stroud back to back, because those 2 guys could go back to back top 5.
You're not
absolutely
wrong.
Jeremiah Smith, the only receiver that goes ahead of him in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Braden, I appreciate you saying that, extending the length of the podcast. You were going to cut the Texas part short and not spend an hour talking about everybody in Texas, because I could talk for an hour about Ole Miss and not say a single thing that has to do about football when it comes to the Rebels. So my first question to you guys is, how long do you got? Because I got a lot of things to say.
Before you start, I just want to ask, like, how much of a legal knowledge do I need to have? Do I need to study for the bar exam before we start talking about this?
Not a bad thought. I think you could get by with watching Suits through twice, not just once, a second time. Twice. Sweet. So let's do that right now. We'll come back in a week and we'll talk about the Rebels. Just kidding. Haha, funny. You want to talk about a team that makes drama in the SEC, and it's not all their fault. Well, some of it is. Some of it definitely is, but it's not all their fault. Semifinalists capping off an incredible season for the Ole Miss Rebels, one of the best in history in a long, long time for Hotty Toddy. Guys, if I were to, let's just say you've never experienced college football before, right? And you see Ole Miss 13-2, 7-1, just made it to the semifinals. What would you tell me about their head coach?
That guy should stick around and continue to build his dynasty. He should definitely continue to coach them at least throughout that playoff stretch. Like maybe he was there coaching them to the semifinals. That's what I would guess.
Okay. Contract extension talks. Really good transfer portal quarterback since your guy's graduating. You got a great returning star running back that's on the cover of College Football 27. The offense is okay. Great defensive coordinator that's probably going to be a head coach somewhere. Deservingly so, deserves to get promoted. Let me fill you in if you've been living in a cave for the last 9 months. Instead, it ends with Pete Golding having a record of 2-1 as head coach because Lane Kiffin goes to Baton Rouge. It ends with Trinidad Chambliss setting these tailspin, whirlwind, NCAA injunction judges. I don't know what's going on in the circuit courts, the legal courts, the appellate courts, the Supreme Court, the Senate, the House of Representatives. We don't talk politics on this show, but college football has gotten to that point where we have Ole Miss judges granting injunctions for a 9th, 10th year player to play quarterback at Ole Miss that could go to the draft and be a starter in the NFL in 5 years. Did I mention the FBI swept their entire team room, by the way? We haven't even gotten to that topic. So to conclude, FBI sweepers came in because nobody trusts Lane Kiffin. Don't blame them. Trinidad Chambliss won a lawsuit, and now he's back in the Heisman conversation. I said his name in the FanDuel odds that we just read. He's back somehow, some way. Don't get it. Football is back on Saturday, and none of this matters anymore. I'm going to talk to you about the team that Pete Golding has because that's all I can do, guys. That's all I didn't pass the bar. I don't have legislation examples. Football. That's all I can do. So Pete Golding, he's the head coach in Oxford, taking over a major flagship SEC program now. He's 2-1. His 3 games, a win against Tulane, a win against Georgia, and just barely losing to Miami. There's a lot to be positive about in Oxford. I've said his name 5 times. I'll tell you the stats. Quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, 30 touchdowns, over 4,500 yards from scrimmage, just 3 picks. Kid's electric. You know what? I understand him going out and doing it. I get it. You want to play ball. You want to be with your boys. I get it. I'm excited to watch him play. They said yes. Who am I to remiss week 3? Who am I to remiss LSU, Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss trying to shove it down his old coach's throat? I'm cool with it. But then you have running back Kewan Lacey, who's really the star of this program, but hasn't gotten the national attention besides if you play video games. 306 carries, first in all of college football. 1,600 rushing yards, third in all of college football. And 24 rushing touchdowns, second in all of college football. Day 1 draft pick. Glad he's back. Then you turn it over to defense, Pete Golding's expertise. The linebacker from Cal transferred in, 38 solo tackles, a sack, a pick, a pass deflection. And they returned 12 guys, including their special teams kicker and punter. 5 on offense, 5 on defense. But guys, we say this a lot. We talk about rivalries. They're over-under set at 8.5. Ceilings at 11-1, floors at 7-5. They can go 1-11. I'm not kidding. Pete Golding can go 1-11, and Oxford will smile if they beat the brakes off of the LSU Tigers. 1-11. Who cares about lawsuits? The FBI sweeping the room. Who cares about anything else? If Lane Kiffin walks into Oxford, I don't know how the man survives the day, by the way, how he's getting to the stadium. Police escort, Donald Trump style. Probably going to need it.
Yeah, I think he might.
It's not one of those situations where it's so nice to come home and the fans are clapping and the staff's happy to see you. No. You want to talk about how Baton Rouge has one of the most unhospitable environments in the world? Oxford just cranked this thing into the 8th dimension. My brother's getting married on this day, September 19th, week 3, LSU. It's been 13 years in the making. I'm okay with it being on this day. I'm very happy. I'm very happy for Zach and Aaron in the wedding. I'm very excited to be a groomsman and blessed to be and to welcome another Wagner sister into the family. But as soon as the best man speech toast and everything, the dancing starts happening, guys, iPhone up on the table, done. 7:30 kickoff. That's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do sometimes. Anyways, I don't have them going 1-11. I really had to ramble, and Braden, I appreciate you not with LSU because Ole Miss is the one getting the brunt end of this deal. And oh boy, they might make a documentary if Ole Miss beats LSU in week 3. It might happen. I've got them going 10-2, and I do think they lose that football game. I'm sorry.
Joe, mentioning the documentary was beautiful because I've been thinking during that whole segment just to be a fly on the wall in that game. I want to be in both locker rooms. I want to be on the sideline, and I want to be in the stands watching as a fan. I want to be in all of those places at once. So getting some cameras there and making a film out of it would not be a bad idea at all. It would people would pay money for it.
I want the Sharon Moore documentary.
Okay. Oh no.
We already talked about things in Michigan and that being debatably not even the worst thing.
Yeah.
To the sport. It's the worst thing as a human. To the sport's a different conversation.
Oh boy.
Let's talk about Shane Bieber. I'm done.
Yeah.
I have Tennessee later, but I'm done for a couple minutes.
Gosh, did South Carolina have high hopes entering last year? Brutal 4-8 season. Just one SEC win. We were at one of their games last year, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, week 1. Unfortunately, Tech didn't come out on top in that one, but we had a good first half, and we'll put it that way.
We had a good tailgate. Had a good time.
Yeah. We also thought South Carolina was a completely different team than they actually ended up being. Shane Beamer, he's entering his 6th season with a 33-30 record, and after going 9-4 in 2024, a really, really solid season for the Gamecocks. They have to bounce back from this 4-8 season, or it could be his butt on the line when all is said and done. There is a little bit of hope. The player I'm watching, we all know him. It's senior quarterback Lenoris Sellers.
He's a senior? Holy crap.
Yeah, he's a senior. Remains one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country. Going into last year, I honestly thought that he would be top 3, if not higher, top 3 quarterback, because he was absurd in 2024. Huge arm, ability to make plays with the legs. If the offensive line can give him just a little bit more time, Sellers has the talent to turn this offense back into one of the SEC's most dangerous units. Nick Harbor, he should be one of his biggest weapons as well. 6'5" speedster, averaged 20.6 yards per catch last season, and finished the year with 5 touchdowns in his final 5 games. Dylan Stewart, he should anchor the defense once he returns from his back injury, giving South Carolina a potential superstar on both sides of the ball. Dylan Stewart, probably going to be a top 10 pick in next year's NFL draft. He is absurd. The biggest addition is offensive tackle Jacarius Peak from NC State. South Carolina desperately needed help up front after last year's offensive line disaster, and Peak could be the piece that finally gives Sellers some protection. The biggest loss is wide receiver Vandrevius Jacobs, who led the Gamecocks with 32 catches for 548 yards and 4 touchdowns before transferring to Miami. My game to watch, it's week 4 at Alabama. South Carolina hasn't won in Tuscaloosa since 2004, but this is the kind of game that could completely change the trajectory of the season. With Kentucky, Florida, and Tennessee following, a win would suddenly make the Gamecocks a serious SEC and CFP conversation. The schedule is a little bit easier, in my opinion, than last year. With that being said, I'm calling 7-5. I really like the talent, especially Sellers, Harbor, and Stewart. And I expect a much, much better season than last year. Obviously, 7-5 is not going to get you into the playoffs. Not sure whether or not that would keep Beamer his job. You know, we're a little biased here as Virginia Tech fans. I think Beamer is a good coach. I would assume you guys do as well. So it will be interesting to see if they go 7-5, as my record states, how they deal with that situation.
I think 7-5 is enough, to be honest, when it comes to Shane Beamer. Obviously, great human being. Not just saying that because of the legendary father here on campus, right, with Frank Beamer and Beamer Ball. Great guy, wanting to blaze his own trail, which I respect the heck out of, first of all. Obviously was a huge name that was coming up in VT football head coaching conversations. And I think 7's enough. South Carolina, I feel like, is in this phase. I don't know if it's their fault or if it's Beamer's fault of they think they're the Georgias, but they're not.
Yep.
They think they're the Alabamas, but they're not. They are in women's basketball. They sure as heck are. But I think 7-5 is a great season for them. I think if we're talking 4-8, I think we're talking about
Absolutely.
goodbye. 6-6, 7-6 with a bowl win. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I really think it comes down to, you know, they have a superstar in Lenora Sellers. I think we can say that. You know, 2024, I know last season was not good, but 2024 was enough to say this guy is a superstar. It's just all the pieces around him, especially that offensive line last year. They had to do some drastic things to fix everything around him. I think they have a little bit, not enough to compete in the SEC, but a solid season. Like I said, 7-5.
Yep. Braden, you have a lot to break down of what's going on in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, the Commodores 10-3, 6-2 last season. We can make all the jokes we want about, say, their former quarterback. But other than that, straight up applause. Massively successful season considering recent history of this team. It's their first 8+ win season since 1982 and their first 10-win season in program history. You can't be upset about that no matter what. That's just massively impressive. Great season for the Commodores and Clark Lee. Clark Lee is going into his 6th season, 26-36. If his record, that includes his 10-win season last year, so his record prior to that was not amazing, but knowing Vanderbilt, that's not surprising at all. My question is, can he build on the momentum of the last 2 years and keep Vanderbilt in the national spotlight for the right reasons? He'll have to do it without former quarterback Diego Pavia, who spent just as much time on the Baltimore Ravens as Max Crosby did. My player to watch. My player to watch is Junior Sherrill, senior wide receiver. He was a big target for Pavia last year. And his other two big targets, Trey Richardson and Eli Stowers, are gone. So Sherrill will almost certainly be the number one option for new quarterback, Blake Berlowitz. Last year, Sherrill had 54 catches for 784 yards and 7 touchdowns. I don't expect the running game, especially the quarterback running game to be as good as it was last year. So I expect a lot of passing. My top transfer them is safety Ricardo Jones from Clemson. Last season, he led the ACC in interceptions with 6. Interceptions are luck-based a lot of the time, but still he's a good safety that'll elevate this defense. Vegas has them taking a step back with their win total being 5.5. I agree. My floor is going to be 3-9, and my ceiling is going to be 7-5. My game to watch is Week 11 versus Alabama. The past few years, the games between Vandy and Bama have been seriously entertaining. The Commodores will likely be in a different point this season compared to last year. So they'll be looking to play spoiler as they did in 2024. Guys, I have them 3-9. Unfortunately for Vanderbilt, I'm expecting a return to the norm after the success of the last 2 seasons. And I think a lot of their games will be competitive, but I just don't see the Magic sticking around in 2026. So definitely a big setback. But you do have to look at the past 2 years and be happy for that if you're a Vanderbilt fan.
Yeah, we can, Braden, I'm glad you talked about it. Like, we can joke and mock and whatever about Diego Pavia, but holy crap, did he have a great 2 years. And yes,
Absolutely.
the ego, yes, all these other things. But, I mean, bringing Vanderbilt to the 2 stages where they were close to SEC championships, right? They've never sniffed that in a long time. And Clark Lee, that's a guy you want to play football for. Even if they go 3-9, he has a 4-season leash of going 3-9 if that's what it takes. But Clark Lee, great job. Diego Pavia, like, all jokes aside, so much fun to watch. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, you can mention the ego, but he did back it up the last 2 years. So what can we say?
Phenomenal college quarterback.
Absolutely.
Reminds me a lot of like Manziel, like in that aspect, guy that's going to play with his hair on fire, can win these college games, but just not going to be able to do it at the next level. And has too big of an ego to, actually put in the effort to be a better quarterback at the next level.
I was going to say Baker Mayfield was the same style as these guys in college. He just backed it up in the NFL too. He was one of the only ones too.
Well, he works his ass off is the difference.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Manziel and Pavia were definitely big partiers, which that's fine. That's fine. It's just not going to take you to the NFL.
No.
And Baker was too, to be fair.
That Max Crosby quote needs to get posted. That was hilarious. Tennessee. I don't have a lot to say about Tennessee. I can't tell you if that's good or bad. I promise you I did the same research I did for every other team. Tennessee, 8 wins. It seems like we've been here for a century. Josh Heupel, Tennessee, when did we fall below the standard of Alabama, of Georgia? Florida's plummeted lately, but they used to be up there. But Tennessee was an SEC championship team, at least competing for it year after year after year. But we're seeing 5 losses. 5 losses in Knoxville? That's no. But here's the worst part. They went 4-4 in the SEC, but they lost to Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a lot of tough pills to swallow. And then you go to the Music City Bowl, and you lose to Illinois, in Nashville, in Tennessee. Luke Altmaier is not an NFL quarterback, but we lost to him. Josh Heupel, it's time to start answering things in year 6. 45-20 record, returning 10 starters, depth on defense, few fresh faces on offense. There's a lot of questions around the Vols this year. One question that they can answer with a fact of the matter, running back to Sean Bishop. Again, top 5 running back in the league. We're talking about a lot of great running backs. 182 carries, 1,100 yards rushing, and 16 touchdowns. By far the star of this Tennessee offense. Defensive tackle Xavier Gilliam comes from Penn State, transfers in, had 4 pass deflections, half a sack, and a forced fumble. But guys, let me tell you this. Tennessee, you're going to need to know the name Faison Brandon, true freshman quarterback that was just named the starter for the Vols. A true freshman is walking into the depths of the SEC. And let's talk a little bit about the schedule. Let's talk about it. Nice little tune-up game against Furman. Nice little tune-up game. Georgia Tech away. Trap game for the Vols. Kennesaw State, quick win. Texas, ugh. Auburn win. Arkansas win. Then you get Alabama. South Carolina, Kentucky. South Carolina, who knows? But then you end the year with Texas A&M, LSU, and then a little win in there against Vanderbilt. favorable schedule, but that I stare at that Texas game. I stare at that Alabama game. I stare at that Texas A&M game, and I stare at that LSU game. And guys, I'll be quick. I think they lose all 4 of them. I have them at 8-4. True freshman quarterback, maybe something to build on since Nico I am leaving. Went off to play the Pac-12 or whatever CLA calls themselves now. But again, we're talking about a 4-4 season for Tennessee and the SEC. And guys, I'm looking at these games from every angle. I don't see them winning a single one of them. I mean, you get Texas at home, like they're playing Texas at home. They get Alabama at home. They get LSU at home. The only game they go away through that's purely difficult is going to College Station. I still don't think they win a single one of them.
Yeah, Joe, I like how you started that segment saying that you didn't have a lot to say about them. And I kind of feel the same way in that I don't know how to feel about them. Like, I'm not really moved at all, but I know they're going to be good, but they're not going to be great. I think you're exactly right in that they beat the teams they should and lose the games they should. I think they're that's just where they're at as a program right now.
I mean, let's talk about flipping one way or the other, right? Let's say they win one of those games. They go 9-3. Is that successful for Tennessee? Maybe. And let's talk about the opposite. Let's say they lose the games they're supposed to, and then they drop to South Carolina when they go into Columbia, or they drop a terrible loss to Auburn, or they lose that game at Georgia Tech, and we're talking 7-5. That Georgia Tech game's not a freebie. I gave it to them. I think they'll win that game. That's not a freebie.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of questions in Knoxville. That's where I'm at.
They've been at that spot for the last few years, I feel like, Tennessee.
Which is weird.
Kind of just above average.
It's kind of like it feels you had, like we mentioned, Nico, super hype, like the number 1 quarterback in the class at the time, and it just didn't move the needle. It's still more of the same. So it's a weird spot for them.
I'd agree. True freshman. We'll see what we got. Week 2 is going to be eye-opening. That's for sure. Brent, wrap us here with the SEC before we get to some week 0 and playoff predictions.
Yeah, I've got A&M. After going 11-2 and 7-1 in the SEC last year, before a 10-3 loss to Miami in the first round of the college football playoff, Texas A&M finally looks like the program it has been trying to become for years. Mike Elko, he's entering his 3rd season with a 19-7 record. Getting the Aggies to the CFP was a massive breakthrough. Now the question is whether he can make it the beginning of something bigger. The player I'm watching is Mario Craver. The dude is absurd. Explosive junior receiver, broke out in a huge way last season, including a ridiculous 207-yard performance against Notre Dame. Gives Marcel Reed a legitimate game-changing weapon. Reed is back after throwing for 3,169 yards and 25 touchdowns while adding 6 rushing scores with his legs. And with Reuben Owens leading a deep running back group, this offense should continue to produce. Losing Casey Concepcion to the Browns hurts, but I think A&M will have the horses to recover. The biggest addition through the transfer portal is offensive tackle Wilkin Formby from Alabama. 6'7", 295 pounds. He gives the Aggies an experienced piece up front that could help keep the offense on schedule. My game to watch, it's Week 12 versus Texas. This is about more than the rivalry. Texas A&M has not beaten the Longhorns since 2010, which is kind of crazy to say, honestly. But a win in the regular season finale could have massive college football playoff implications. If the Aggies arrive here with 2 or fewer losses, this could be one of the biggest games in the country. My prediction, I'm calling 10-2. Last year's CFP appearance proved that Elko can get A&M there, but the schedule is considerably tougher this time around with road games at LSU, Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. Still, the Aggies have Marcel Reed, Mario Craver, and enough talent across the roster to handle most of it. Now Elko has to prove last year was not a one-time breakthrough. Texas A&M needs to start winning these massive games.
First of all, I'm gonna be honest. Like Marcel Reed, I thought was like his 8th-year senior last year, and it's obviously knew he was coming back before this. But Marcel Reed is just one of those guys. Like he puffed his chest last season in College Station. 10-2 is probably enough to get them into the college football playoff, which they could make some noise in. And Brent, I loved your analysis. Talking about the difference between Casey Capchion leaving. Great guy, is going to make a splash in the NFL. But Marcel Reed's Heisman odds sit at plus 3,000. So just right under John Mateer. Might be worth a sprinkle as well if you're allowed to gamble.
Absolutely.
NCAA and rules. No, I'm not going to spend the time on it. I was gonna go on a rant about how we can't figure out college football players, but we can let Greg Sankey decide if student athletes and everyone else can gamble in the NCAA. I'm not getting into it. I'm not doing it. We're at 90 minutes. I'm not doing it. I've said my piece. Anyways, typically this is where we wrap the show, but guys, we're 48 hours away, less than now from college football. It's about 36 at this point, getting close to it, from a noon kickoff in Dublin, Ireland. Between UNC and TCU. Let's talk a little bit about week 0, grab some predictions real fast. We'll look at our sports outlet show, College Football Playoff. We'll pick it through as we do typically. Won't take too long. Thanks for hanging out here with us late. But first, let's take it. It's the same matchup as last year. The North Carolina Tar Heels, the TCU Horned Frogs, who are 8.5-point favorites. Guys, let's talk a little bit about this one, what we're expecting to see and who's taking it home.
I don't think it'll be as bad as last year for UNC. Let's put it that way. I think they lost like 48-7 or something. That's probably wrong, but it was something along those lines last year. I do think UNC covers. I think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. Last year was really, really bad in Belichick's first season. I think they'll be a mediocre, but TCU's also mediocre. I think TCU is the better team, so I think they're going to win, but I think UNC covers.
I'm with you, Brent. I don't know. I feel weird about UNC. I think they're going to be worse than last year, actually, which is crazy. So I do have TCU covering, but I think, like you said, it's not going to be as bad as it was last year. I have like the 10 to 17 point range is what I'm looking at, but TCU by that much.
I think people that are fans of parlaying things, like you always have those stacked odds. TCU, I think their money line's at minus 310. Last I was checking it out, that's a free bet in my opinion. I'd be intrigued if North Carolina keeps it close, like Brent talking about covering. But anytime you get over a touchdown, again, can't gamble. Just talking openly. Just TCU, I think they have a better roster. I think there's a lot of things to figure out, but I'm not sure if they cover or not. I'd prefer they didn't, so the game's more fun and draw some more attention. But I do think their money line is almost free for Sonny Dykes and company.
I mean, if I remember correctly, the past 2 years, at least, the Dublin games have been pretty close. That's another thing to take into consideration.
The travel.
Yeah. What was it? Was it the Florida State game in Dublin? Or that was – no, it was not.
Georgia Tech beat Florida State, right, to open the year?
Yeah. I don't remember if that was in Dublin or not, but I remember watching it.
It was because Florida State was like number 10.
Yep. That was a great game. Hopefully we see something like that, even though neither of these teams are ranked.
And then it was Kansas State, Iowa State. Nobody could score.
Mm-hmm. No, that was the Dublin game. That was the Dublin game.
Yep. This is more of a spread pick. We know who's going to win. Week 0, San Jose State Spartans, USC Trojans. This one's set at 38.5. Guys, it is the largest spread I'll put in front of you today. But just quickly, Lincoln Riley's got a lot to prove. USC, they are home. What do we think?
I'm going USC with that ridiculously big spread. I'm just really high on them this season. I know we talked about them in our segment last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess. But yeah, I'm really high on them this year. San Jose State, they're irrelevant, so I'm going USC minus 38.5.
As far as tune-up games go, and this is a tune-up game, at least San Jose State is in the FBS. So why not have them cover? It'll still be an absolute blowout, but give us something a little bit closer.
I think it mostly depends when Jaden Mayava hits the bench. But hey,
it's so hard with these spreads.
Week 0, Lincoln Riley, I would take the spread too. If they're the Big Ten team they want to be, yes, you're playing a poor opponent, but you need to blow them out. It looks great on a college football resume if you're trying to get there. I'm a college football fan first, so I got to say it. This is the game of the week. It is the game of week 0. It's in a sold out, take that term however you want, Scott Stadium. 3:30 kickoff, Scott Stadium, Wolfpack, Cavaliers. It is a conference game. Guys, this spread was just at 6.5 for the Cavs 2 days ago. Has now dropped to -4. Sold out crowd for the first time since 2008 when they played the team we just talked about, the USC Trojans. So intrigued to see. I'm intrigued a couple things, what it's going to look like in Scott Stadium. It's actually supposed to be a record student crowd as well, just based on all the trends and everything. And I do got to give props. Like you saw the field pop last year when UVA won of their student section on the hill. The season they had last year. I'm intrigued how many fans from Raleigh are coming up and how much red there's going to be from Wolfpack Nation. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a hate watch. But that aside, -4 spread money lines. What are we feeling here?
Yeah, the late money's coming in on NC State, and I agree. I'm trying not to be biased here, but I love CJ Bailey. I think he's a legit dual threat quarterback. One of the best in the ACC. You know, we went into depth about the ACC quarterbacks in that pod. Bo Pribula, he's not in the same conversation to me with CJ Bailey. CJ Bailey is miles ahead of him. And for that reason, I'm taking NC State money line on this one.
I'm 100% with you, Brent. And again, this is not just for hate-watt regions. Like, they're legitimate. I think that both of these teams are good ACC football teams. I think NC State might have a better roster in general. And Virginia's going through a lot of injuries. They're going to be missing a lot of key players, it looks like. So I have NC State as well. And I think it could be surprisingly comfortable, just mostly because of those injuries.
I think it's a 3-point football game. Whoever has the ball at the end kicks a field goal wins. Don't have an opinion other than that. This is going to be not just because I don't want to get put on blast, but I think it's going to be a fun game. UVA has, if you guys have looked at their roster and their depth, their O-line is full of grown men, 6th and 7th year seniors. And in college football, that matters. It matters a lot more than people think. Because it's not like the NFL where you can win the line of scrimmage and whatever, like D-line, O-line. If you win the line of scrimmage in college football, you're going to win football games. That's just how it happens. Bo Pribula is pissed off. He's ready to rock and roll. I think CJ Bailey is one of the best athletes in the country. A dark horse ACC contention. It's going to be fun. Obviously I want NC State to win, but it's going to be a fun time.
Definitely the best game of the week. Like, hands down by far.
Yep. Full on hate watch commencing 3:30. We'll be together. It's fine.
See, I want to clarify. I said
taking their tenure to the FBS. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do have NC State, not for hate watch reasons, but I will be hate watching. Just to clarify.
Love it.
I appreciate that. Making their FBS debut, the North Dakota State Bison at home against the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. They are -7 right now. That's a large spread for a team that's joining the FBS conversation. Thoughts?
I
have no idea these teams. I'll be honest with you. I'm just hoping for a good game, so maybe I'll take the +7 on this one.
I got NDSU. They, at a time where competing neck and neck with JMU for the powerhouses of the FCS. And NDSU has been at the top of the FCS for a very long time now. So it's a late welcome for them to the FCS. Sorry, backwards on all of that. It's a late welcome here for them. And we saw how JMU did in their first year. They were solid. So I think NDSU can do the same thing, and I think they cover here.
I'll kick it over to here. I'll just take this one solo. Sacramento State Hornets at Eastern Michigan Eagles, another week 1 game. Anytime you go to that green field, it's going to be hard to win football games. I'm a big fan of EMU here with this spread and money line as well. Brent, this one is over to you, man. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at the Stanford Cardinal, a game that was really close last year and actually was a ton of fun to watch. Part of the late kickoffs. What do we think here?
Yeah, this was my game to watch. Well, actually, no, I didn't have Stanford. Joe had Stanford in our ACC preview, and that was his game to watch, week 0 versus Hawaii. Oh, my God. I got to take Stanford. Stanford, they're not a great team, but it's still Power 4. I got to go with the -4.
Oh, yeah. I'll agree. Hawaii's not a great team. Stanford's not a great team either, but yeah, give me Stanford.
Real quick here, I'll take this one as well. New Mexico State Aggies at Florida State Seminoles -31.5. Close spread to the USC Trojans one. Florida State needs to come out and win by 70. It's that simple. Mike Norvell needs it. Tallahassee needs it. Seminole Nation needs it. Go out there, beat the brakes off of them. Let's head into week 2 and 3. Got some tough opponents, week 2, SMU, week 3, Alabama. This needs to be a tune-up. It needs to get the guys ready to rock and roll. Should be a fun one there for Tallahassee. Go win by 1 million. I don't care. Final one, the nightcap, the 10 p.m., the Memphis Tigers at the UNLV Rebels. Guys, there's 2 situations here. We're still sitting at the blackjack table enjoying at 10 o'clock, watching this game up money, still playing with house money, or we're all sitting in the sports book with all our money gone and we're still watching this football game. What do we got?
I'm excited for this. These are, when you talk about the Power 4, Memphis and ULV have competed over the past several years as that top group of 5 team, or group of 6, group of 5, whatever we want to call it now. Both of these teams have high expectations for the season, and both of them, it should be a really, really fun game. I have UNLV. I think I had them 12-0 in my group of 5 predictions. So obviously I got to go with UNLV here.
Yeah, I'm going the same. UNLV should be very good once again. Memphis losing their head coach. I'm going UNLV on the spread.
Yeah, I'm the same. Dan Mullen's got it figured out. Memphis has a lot of changes with losing Silverfield from past year. I'm the same. That's week 0, fellas. But before we get out of here, real quick, the Sports Outlet Show College Football Playoff preseason prediction. We've done this in the past couple years. We were so wrong last year with Clemson versus Texas. We need redemption, and that's what we're gunning for today. I took all our analysis, all our picks, all our conversations. I went back through the film. I didn't make this graphic. ChatGPT did. I'm going to be open and honest. We're an open and honest, truthful, and transparent podcast here. But ChatGPT made this lovely graphic. Here is how it panned out. We're going to pick the winners of each one here, too. Number 8, Texas A&M. Number 9, Ohio State. Number 5, Miami being the ACC qualifier versus number 12, UNLV Rebels being the group of 5 representation. Texas Tech being the Big 12 qualifier, going up against BYU, the Indiana Hoosiers at 7, the Ole Miss Rebels at 10. Qualifier of the Big 10 with Oregon, Georgia at 4, Notre Dame at 3. Texas being your SEC qualifier automatic. Guys, remember the rule change this year. The seeding is the best 4 teams. It does not matter if they win their conference championship or not. You see 2 SEC teams up there, and then you see UNLV at number 12. Original thoughts before we get into matchups?
Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. We know Notre Dame's going to get their automatic bid just for being top 12 in the country with their cupcake schedule. We talked about that. Honestly, I like this a lot. I would not be surprised if this is how it shakes out.
Yeah, same.
1 ACC team, 2 Big 12 teams. I think just quick counting, 4 SEC teams, and then 1, 2, 3. We got 3 Big 10 teams, so a pretty even, and then independent, and then UNLV. when it comes to those. Texas A&M, Ohio State, the way it mapped out, it'd be in College Station. What do you boys think from that one? Just a quick 1, 2, 3, and we'll advance them.
Yeah, I gotta go Ohio State there. This is a team that's top 3 in the preseason predictions. So gotta go Ohio State. I don't think A&M's at that level, unfortunately.
I'm also going to go with Ohio State. I think, enough said.
I'll make it 3-0. Buckeyes advance. Hurricanes, Rebels, should we all just say Miami and move on? Texas Tech, BYU, both Big 12s matching up together. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Red Raiders, Cougars, who do we got?
I could see BYU with a sneaky upset in that one. I'll be honest. Texas Tech, they've got a lot of questions with everything going on there. Give me BYU in that one.
I think I'm going to go Texas Tech. It's going to be our first split of the day. I remember BYU's schedule being a little bit softer, and I'm not super sold on them as a team. But like you said, Texas Tech does have a lot of questions. I'm going with them anyway.
I'm going with Texas Tech. I'll break the tie. Thomas Castellanos is going to be the starter.
Pray for that defense.
Let's get again. We're good.
There you go.
Hey, the rain's been bad. Indiana, Ole Miss. This would be a great matchup between the two. I'm going Ole Miss here. I'll shoot the first shot.
Yeah, I'm going Indiana. I know they won. I know they won the whole thing last year. Obviously, I actually think the roster's better this year. Maybe outside of quarterback. But I'm going Indiana.
You know what? I think I am as well. This team is built very well. Give me Indiana.
Awesome. We move on to Oregon, Ohio State. We've seen this matchup several times already. Who do we got there?
Oregon. They're my. I've already said it, but they're my championship pick. Not to spoil what's coming later, but Oregon for sure.
I'm big on Oregon this year as well. I'm going Oregon.
I'll give it to the Buckeyes. They deserve a fighting fight, even if I think I'm wrong. Georgia, Miami. That would be a fun showdown.
Yeah, I love Darian Mensah coming over. They're obviously going to be the top ACC team. But as you went on earlier about Georgia, lots of really good talent on the defensive side of the ball. Gunnar Stockton coming back. You have Kirby Smart. I like Georgia here. They're going to be a really, really solid football team.
I think I'm going to go Miami. I think their roster may have improved from last year. There's still a lot of talent on there. And we saw last year what they could do, even though they were doubted. So I'm going Miami.
I'm going Georgia here as well. I think the talent's there. There are a lot of great pieces with Miami. I think the Bulldogs win this one. Over to Notre Dame and Texas Tech. I'm taking Notre Dame. I don't think it's close.
Same.
I agree. It's going to be their toughest matchup yet so far, and they're going to win handedly.
And then Texas, Indiana. Correct? We had Indiana.
Yep.
Okay. Texas, Indiana. I think this is where Kurt Cignetti loses a football game in the college football playoff again. I've got Texas.
I've got Texas as well. That would be a really good game, though, if we get that.
That would be.
Make it a sweep. I've got Texas.
Well, shocker. We've got 1 through 4. Oregon and Georgia. I think this would be a great battle. I'm going with Georgia in this one, actually. I think Kirby Smart's got it. A little bit of a bump on Dan Lanning, and Dante Moore's got his hands full with an SEC defense.
I'm still going Oregon.
I'm with you, Brent. I'm going with the Ducks.
All right. Notre Dame, Texas. Give me Texas by 40.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it'll be by 40, but I think it'll be close, but give me Texas.
I know. It's just that Notre Dame hating me. Oregon, Texas, national championship. Texas is here again for us. Hopefully it pans out a little better. I'm going Texas. I can't believe I'm saying it.
Yeah, I would be rooting for Texas in this matchup. I know Joe doesn't want to hear that, but obviously a huge Arch Manning fan. Nonetheless, I picked him as my championship team. I'm going Oregon.
outside of this podcast, this is my national championship matchup by myself. This is the two teams that I have. These two teams are great. This would be an amazing game. I think I'm going Oregon.
Oregon Ducks. You guys just made Kelby happy. Puddles just won the national championship.
Go Puddles.
Go Puddles. Good for Puddles. Puddle deserves the love. Guys, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us here. The Oregon Ducks are going to be college football championships, Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium here in 2027. According to us, we were very wrong last year, so don't put your money where your mouth is if you're listening to us. But maybe, we'll flip the whole script on 2027. 2026 is in the past. Guys, nothing matters anymore about transfers, college football. Rosters are here. Rosters are set. Welcome to college football. We kick off in 2 days, depending on what you care about. Kickoff is at noon for me on Saturday. 2 days, we have college football. We are back. Nothing else matters. Welcome back to the Sports Outlet Show. We'll see you every week here. I made the judge decision. It's 6:30. I want to make sure we get to Thursday night football. We can banter after, but that's the case for now. My name's Joe Wagner, alongside Brent Allegra, Braden Wilkins. Rest easy, sleep tight, sleep with one eye open. We're back in 2 days. Good night.